The following is a special presentation of the First Horizon Green Sports Zone. This is the Terry Flooring Billy Kaylor Show.
Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Terry's Flooring Billy Kaylor Show, where we cover everything in Lower Afton. With the Chuckey-Doak Black Knights football team, we'll recap this past week's game with Volunteer and preview what's to come for the Black Knights on their bye week with 2 games left in the season. But first, we need to get a billboard spot in first, so we'll be right back after this quick break here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone.
The Terry's Flooring Billy Kaylor Show, brought to you by the IHOP Davy Crockett TA Travel Center, Ashley Drug Center, Gateway Ford Nissan, Tommy's Plumbing, by Terry's Flooring, and by First Horizon Bank.
Here's a twist on your typical banking options. What if instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you had one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. Big bank muscle with small bank hustle. Big bank convenience and small bank connection. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon. First Horizon Bank.
Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Terry's Flooring Billy Kaylor Show, where we cover everything in Lower Afton with the Chuckey-Doak Black Knight football team. As always, I'm joined here with Chuckey-Doak head coach Billy Kaylor. Coach, how's it going today?
Going all right, man. How are you?
Doing good. Start of the week now, Monday, start of your bye week. We'll jump into that first. We'll actually do it backwards this week. We'll touch on the bye week first and then cover Volunteer on the back half. Since it's already your bye week, we'll just talk about that first. But you're starting the bye week this week. Probably a much-needed break. It comes late into the season, 8 games in now. You get it right before your last 2 games with Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg-Pittman. So first day of your bye week now. How are you feeling? How's the team doing?
Oh, we're doing okay. We give the boys a day to rest here today. We didn't have school today, so give the boys a day to rest and come back to work on Tuesday. But bye week's always a good thing to have, particularly late in the year like this. You need a little time to rest up, get a little healthy, and get our minds prepped to try to go beat Pigeon Forge next week.
And talk about your bye week, too. A lot of time, you didn't have fall break as your bye week. I talked to a lot of coaches who had planned on going on vacations. Unfortunately, you can't go on a vacation on bye week. No. I guess you could. You could take some PTO and go on vacation, but you're probably choosing not to and staying here and practicing with the team. So what do you do during a bye week? What are some things that you think benefit you during the bye week? Obviously, taking time to kind of rehydrate, rest, take it easy during practices. But what are some of the things that you work on during a bye week?
It just depends. Changes every year. Depends on your group of kids. But most of the time it's gonna settle on fundamental stuff. Some things that maybe you kind of really focused on in the spring, early in the summer, even early in camp, and as you develop through the year, you kind of you start working on some more big picture stuff and some away from some of the small picture stuff. So you kind of refocus on some fundamentals and get yourself ready. For us, it's Pigeon Forge is essentially a playoff game for us. We want a chance to play in the postseason. We've got to beat Pigeon Forge, and so it gives us a chance to get a little extra prep there, as well as focus on some fundamentals. While, like I said, probably not quite as physical in practice as we would be normally. Just kind of giving those guys a chance to heal up a little bit.
And that's a good part about this bye week, too, is I don't know if it's the perfect time to have a bye week, but it most certainly is because of how your seasons went up to this point, because you're 8 games in now, and you're going into essentially, I guess, what you could maybe coin as a play-in game for the playoffs if you're able to beat Pigeon Forge, and you get 2 weeks to prepare for them now. So we won't talk about Pigeon Forge in detail because, of course, we'll save that for next week whenever it is Pigeon Forge week, but essentially you have Pigeon Forge week twice back-to-back. So how beneficial is it that you can kind of take more time to prepare for a team in such an important game that you have coming up?
Oh, it's huge. We get a chance to be a little more in-depth with our boys. I wouldn't say we're any more in-depth in our preparation, but more in-depth in the time we get to teach some of these small things and why we do what we do, and give the boys more of a chance to see Pigeon Forge on film. And so it's 7 days of practice versus 4. One of those being a walkthrough. It's you double your practice time, double your time on the field. Anybody worth their salt's going to get be more prepped than you would be.
And of course, with a bye week also, you get some time to kind of relax a little bit on Friday night. So whenever you do get Friday night off, do you plan on going to a game? Do you plan on kicking back and taking a rare Friday night off during the fall? What's your Friday night look like during this bye week?
If I can find one on YouTube or something, I may watch one on TV. There's a couple I'd like to watch this Friday if I can find them on TV. But no, man, I'm gonna be home with the wife and kids, and we got a new dog at the house, so I'll be home with Great Pyrenees Anatolian Shepherd mix. So he's about 6 months old and he's huge. So spend some time with Hank, the pup, and the family and the rest of the animals, and just relax and enjoy our Friday. And we like to spend a lot of time outside with those kids and playing and stuff. It's going to be a beautiful afternoon, so we'll probably boogie on home from school as quick as we can and get outside and enjoy the beautiful fall weather in the mountains. And we may watch one on TV when the sun goes down.
I want to ask, too, before we go into volunteering the second half, we've got a big game out here on the field behind us later on tonight, too. We've got the area championship for the middle school now.
Yep.
Chuckey-Doak hosting Sullivan Central, and I know that you're sticking around to watch the game. You've stuck around to watch a lot of the middle school games this year. So give us a preview tonight of the middle school game.
Well, Chuckey-Doak Middle, man, they've done a great job over the last few years. They got a chance here to three-peat, and that program is vitally important to us. And that group of 8th graders there, is a bunch that's going to, a lot of those kids are going to have a chance to give us an impact next year. It's going to be interesting to see. Sullivan Central is a big Sullivan Central, big middle school team, bunch of big boys. They ran the football really, really effectively last time these guys played over here. So it'll be interesting to see how this defensive line's able to kind of stymie their offensive line and what they're able to do offensively to keep Sullivan Central on their heels. I think if they can keep them on their heels and keep the ball out of their hands a little bit, I think last time they played, Sullivan Central kind of chewed the clock up on them.
Okay.
So if they can move it kind of quick, keep the ball out of their hands, maybe they got a chance.
I'd love to preview the game, and we just previewed the game. I'd love to promo the game on here, but after we get done with this interview, I'll be going up top and setting up the broadcast to stream the game tonight.
Yeah,
so this won't be out before the game, but there's your little preview that you can watch later. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this, hopefully the Chuckey-Doak Black Knights do three-peat in the middle school.
They're doing a great job down there, and man, excited about having those boys up here with us. Some of those, like I said, some of those 8th graders are going to be names we talk about next fall.
They will.
Yep.
We'll talk about them in the preview edition next year, but best of luck to the middle school Black Knights tonight. We'll go ahead and jump into a break, a little bit of a weird edition, flipping it this week, talking about the bye week first, and then the recap on the second half. But stick with us. We'll talk about the volunteer recap after this break here on First Horizons Green Sports Zone.
Here's a twist on your typical banking options. What if instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you had one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. Big bank muscle with small bank hustle. Big bank convenience and small bank connection. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon. First Horizon Bank.
At Terry's Flooring, we have quality products along with quality installers that can make your space look better than ever before. The craftsmanship that our installers bring to the job site is unmatched. Along with the great installers, we have a huge selection of hardwood, LVP, tile, and carpet. We know that spending money isn't that easy, but at Terry's Flooring, we care about your money too. Stop on in and see my Popsy at Terry's Flooring and allow him to save you money while enjoying the hassle-free experience.
Tommy's Plumbing has been in business for 30 years, and we're still growing because we treat our customers like family. We are proud to do any job from kitchen faucet installation to a complete home repipe. Tommy's Plumbing offers warranties on most products installed by our technicians. When the job is done, our friendly professionals make sure to clean up. We invite you to visit our new showroom in Jonesboro to see our quality products for yourself. Tommy's is the only one to call when you need a fast, reliable, professional plumber in the Tri-Cities.
At many dealerships, you get what you'd expect. Games, gimmicks, and shady sales tactics. At Gateway Nissan in Greenville, expect the unexpected. Low prices, convenient service, and a great buying experience.
Get our Gateway exclusive lifetime powertrain warranty.
No worries for life.
You deserve the unexpected. It's the #1 reason you gotta get to Gateway.
Shop online at GatewayNissanGreenville.com.
Or take the super short drive down Highway 11E to Gateway Nissan in Greenville.
Win or lose, it's a family tradition. 24-hour hot breakfast, cold drinks, and a table big enough for the whole team, or just your team. IHOP at Davy Crockett Travel Centers. Breakfast that brings you back. Open 24/7 right off I-81, exit 36.
Welcome back to First Horizons Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Terriers Flooring Billy Kaylor Show, where we cover everything in Lower Afton with the Chuckey-Doak Black Knights football team. As always, joined here with Black Knights head coach Billy Kaylor. So you had volunteer this Friday night in a non-conference game, which happened to be senior night. I know a lot of teams haven't had senior nights yet, and it's one of the early senior nights, but you had a late bye week, so it was your 8th game, so it makes sense. The earliest senior night that we've had here in Greene County, and unfortunately didn't go the way you wanted to in the end, took a loss to the Falcons. What did you learn in Friday night's game against Volunteer?
Well, first I'd like to just give a shout out to those seniors. We got six great young men who have done a really good job over the last 3 years. I think all but one of those has been with us since I got the job and 3 years ago. And, man, I love those kids to death. They've all really bought into what we're doing. And I told them Friday night, and it's the truth, man, their impact on this program will be felt for years and years to come. Unfortunately, that game didn't go the way we wanted it to. Kids fought the whole time, and you want that. Obviously we got a lot of things to clean up, a lot of things we can get better at, a lot of stuff to focus on ourselves this bye week. But, man, just really proud of that group of young men, those seniors. They've turned into leaders. They've grown. They've matured. They've turned into good football players, and it's been a pleasure to coach them.
You had 2 players that we had talked about the most out of that senior group, and one had a really good moment on senior night. One didn't have a good moment on senior night. It was both the Doms. Hanlon unfortunately goes down with an injury on his senior night, which is unfortunate because you don't like to see a senior miss out on his senior night and suffer an injury during senior night. But with Dom Atchison, he gets a senior night interception, which was cool to see down here on this far end zone. How cool was it to see him get a special moment like that on his senior night?
Oh, it's great. All those kids deserve everything they can get, and Dominique is one of those kids who, obviously he's an extremely talented player. He's probably gotten less touches this year than anybody on our sideline wants him to get because defensively everybody's been keyed in on him. And he's doesn't have that many PBUs or anything like that either because people won't throw at him. Yeah. He's a great player, great young man. He's really grown as a leader in the last 2 years, and I'm super proud of him. So it's great to see him have that big step-up moment. And then, it breaks your heart for somebody like Dom Hanlon who gets dinged up there. I think we're going to have him back from Pigeon Forge, which is great. But for him to get dinged up on senior night, I hate it for him. He's come a long way as a player and as a young man as well. So hate to see that. But then you got somebody like Will Johnson who played more football Friday night than he's played in a while and played pretty well. So really happy to see that out of him and Peter Grooms and Austin Schwartz and, just a solid group of young men that I'm really proud to have.
And they were one of those groups that we kind of talked about last year that even though they were juniors, it was some of their first time starting, and they were it was baptism by fire a lot of times too. Yeah. So I think they really, like you said, laid a foundation for this program now in your second and third years. And
sure.
they mean more to this program than it seems, because even though you'll look back in the future and see that they didn't have a lot of win totals, you have to see what the teams before built for what's to come also.
That's right.
I think it's hard for some of them to know that in the moment, but hopefully those seniors will look back years to come and see what they were able to help and see what they were able to do for this program.
Successes that we have in the next 3, 4, 5 years will be directly resulted from the way these seniors last year, this year, and next year, those seniors have kind of helped build some foundation culturally for who we'll be as a program. So that's a really hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to ask kids to do that.
Because you don't get the glory.
Right. And it's hard for coaches to do that because it's a lot of hard work. And a lot of times as coaches, we miss the forest for the trees in terms of wins right now. It can be really hard to see the long-term vision. And to ask kids to buy into that, man, it's not any easier. And these guys have done it. Couldn't be more proud of them. Fun group of kids to coach, and they've gotten a lot better as young men and as football players. So, big impact on our program.
They've got 2 games left. Hopefully more than 2 games, though. Of course, going in to the Pigeon Forge game that we talked about is essentially a play-in game for the playoffs in November. So hopefully the next time we sit down, we'll be previewing Pigeon Forge. Can't hope for a Black Knight win when you got the bye week.
Well,
but
it's hard to lose on the bye week too. So I'll take that win. We'll take the bye week win and run.
Absolutely. We'll sit down and preview Pigeon Forge next time and hopefully talk about how those seniors will have more than 2 games left on their schedule. But unless there's anything else you've got to add, I think we're going to pack up and go watch the middle school boys now.
Oh, man, appreciate it. Sounds good.
Absolutely. Always good to come talk to you here in Lower Afton. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Terry's Flooring Billy Kaylor Show. We look forward to seeing you next time here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone.